Hey, it's Haley at Seamwork, and today I'm going to talk about the September 2021 patterns from Seamwork magazine. Today I'm going to be going over the Knox Pinafore and the Mina dress and top. I'm going to talk about all the fabrics that are well suited to these designs and go over some of the details from the designs. So let's get started. First, let's talk about the Mina top and dress. So this pattern has two different views. View one is a top with 3/4 length sleeves, and view two is a dress, like a baby doll dress vibe with short sleeves. Let's go over some of the design details. So Mina has this nice high round neckline, a nice easy fit sleeve, bust darts, and a relaxed straight fitting bodice. One of the coolest features of this pattern is this really cool horizontal pleat at the waistline. And it gives like a really cool textural effect and gives the gathers almost kind of a hidden detail, which is really neat. The skirt is highly gathered. We're looking at like a 2-to-1 gather ratio, which is a pretty high gather ratio. And it makes it really flowy and swishy. And then in the dress version, you also have pockets. Yay, pockets. The top has all of that. The sleeve is just a little bit longer. And of course, there's no pockets because there's no place to put them. But should you like really desire them, I suppose you could add them like to the chest or something. You do you. Let's talk about the fabrics that are going to be really great for Mina. I think that anything in the light to medium weight range is going to be ideal for this project. Of course, if you go lighter, those gathers are going to be a little bit flatter, collapse against your body. But if you go for a more medium weight fabric, you'll get really fluffy, voluminous gathers that give you a more dramatic silhouette, which I personally think is like really good on this pattern. Linen, chambray, batiste, shirtings, voile, rayons, cupros, anything in that range is going to be really gorgeous for this pattern. Let's look at what I chose for the photo samples. So first, we have this washed linen. Actually, both of the samples I chose are linen or linen blends. This one is at 100% washed linen. And what's really great about it is that because it's washed, it has that kind of lived-in feel already. I can't like describe to you how like delicious this is. You'll have to trust me, it truly is. But the linen has that little bit of structure, so it has like a really good silhouette. I think that this is like probably the most ideal fabric for this project. So delightful and lovely to wear. When Jamie, the model, put it on, she was like in love. She wanted to take the sample home with her. I said no. And then for the dress version, I had to go with linen again. It's just so good. But this, it's different because it is a linen rayon blend. It is also a chambray. So the cross grain and straight of grain are different colors, giving it this beautiful textural look. I think that this is actually like a really forgiving texture. If your sewing is like a little like, this is gonna hide a lot of sewing sins. So pro tip, if you're a beginner, you're worried about this pleat, go with a chambray and use a matching thread. It's gonna be like really good for you. But you can see that because of the rayon content that this collapses a little bit more, it's a little bit drapier. So if you like the look of linen, but you don't wanna feel like poofy, then go for something that's a blend. Okay, now that we've talked about Mina, let's jump into the Knox Pinafore. First of all, I'd like to preface this by saying that this pattern is the most fun thing to sew ever. It's like 4 pattern pieces plus your bias finish at the neckline, and it comes together so fast. I cannot wait to make one for myself, and I think you are gonna really like it too. So let's talk about the details on Knox. We have this scoop neckline, and I think the thing that makes it really extra special are these very dropped, squared off armholes. There's also a nice, generous pocket set into the side seam here, and the fit throughout is pretty straight and it finishes right above the knee. So for the Knox Pinafore, you're gonna wanna look for medium to heavyweight fabrics. Things like denim, canvas, twills, suitings, even corduroy or suede or faux suede would be like real cute. The main thing is that you probably want something with a bit more structure so that those squared armholes hold their shape a little bit more. Let me show you the fabrics that I chose for the photo samples. So first up, we have this medium weight denim. I got all the fabrics locally here at Bolt Fabrics, which is just probably my favorite fabric store. This is a more medium to lightweight denim, so if you are not a super big fan of really rigid denims, this is a good example of what your pinafore might look like if you choose something a little bit lighter weight. Yeah, denim. We wanted to show a denim sample because we thought this is like a really accessible fabric that most people could grab at pretty much any fabric store. And I think it turned out super duper cute. I have another photo sample to show you. We had a little snafu, so we didn't get to photograph it, but I thought I could show you the fabric nonetheless. So this is one of the Ruby Star warp and weft fabrics. It's the Chore Coat weight, and this is, I would call it like, I would describe it as like similar to like a sheeting weight or linen, like a heavier weight linen. It's 100% cotton, but it has a little bit more slubby open weave, and it comes in these really sweet little stripes and cool colors. I think there's a couple more colorways, and I think it looks really stellar in this fabric. This is a good example of how something that is a little bit less rigid but still has more structure, like a heavier weight linen, would look with the Knox Pinafore. Lastly, we have the Knox Member Bonus. This Member Bonus is a really cool pocket detail. It almost gives kind of like a faux wrap effect. It's very geometric, and it adds like a little extra something to the design. Because everything else is so similar, you'll want to look for fabrics just like the ones I described for the main version of Knox. I would shy away from things that are a little bit drapier or might have a tendency to stretch out more on the bias. Something that is like a rayon blend or something, probably not very well suited to maintain the shape of this particular pocket. For this sample, I chose a 100% cotton twill. It has kind of a smooth, almost shiny like surface to it. This is not because of the fiber content. Lots of times cotton fibers are treated, the yarn is treated before it's woven, or sometimes even the fabric itself is treated once it's been woven. So different processes can lend a little bit of a different sheen to the fabric. Lots of times this can be something that will wear away over time and get a more broken in type of look. Just something to know about a fabric. If you buy it, you see the fiber content on the bolt and you're like a little bit confused. Cotton usually doesn't look super shiny. Why is this kind of shiny? That could be why. It also could be the length of the fibers in the yarn are just really nice and long. It gives it a smoother surface to the yarn. But I think lots of times people see something with some shine and they assume that there's polyester or synthetic content. And I'm just here to say that's not necessarily the case. That's my little aside on treated fabric and cotton. So there you have it. These are all of the samples and patterns and fabrics that we used for this issue of Seamwork. I cannot wait to see what you make with these patterns. I am curious to know, are you Team Pinafore? Let me know in the comments below, and I will see you next time. Bye. What's the sound effect for Poofy? It's probably more like